Welcome to Game Over. My name is Charles J. Orlando.
And I'm Lisa Stedman, and we answer the questions that remind you that just because you're single, you are not minus a +1. You are actually one step closer to meeting Mr. or Ms. Right.
Ooh.
I know.
I like that
I
one.
know.
I like that
I
one.
pleased him today, ladies. Wow.
You know, if this is how we're going to start, like right after the weekend, I don't know what to do.
Would you like to go home?
That's it.
So welcome to Game Over, everyone.
Oh, good. I get the other side.
This is my better side, so. We are here for you. Don't mind our drama or our issues today. We are the show that is all about your dating, love, and relationship questions, and we answer them sometimes.
Sometimes, on occasion. And today we're talking about first dates.
Are you feeling insecure? Do you need to hug the pillow today? All right, first dates. Tricky topic, and I love this topic.
Well, first dates are complicated, right? I mean,
Yeah.
The biggest
Why are they
deal.
complicated?
Well, for lots of reasons.
Oh,
You thought I was going to say it. You thought I was going to say it, and I'm not. I'm not going to say it.
Oh, I wanted
But-
to drink.
But the biggest deal is that people are always on their best behavior, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
not
very
really
much a
revealing
job.
themselves.
Well, it's very much a job interview.
Yeah.
You know, you bring in none of your issues, none of your baggage, none of your problems, and it's only I'm perfect, I'm ironed, I'm well coiffed. Like I'm
ironed. You know, yeah, that's true. No, but this is what's so interesting is you do want to be on your best behavior, but how do you still be you? How do you still reveal who you really are on your best behavior so that people can know if they want to have a second date? Because really, all first dates really are is information gathering so you know if you want to have a second date.
Well, and that's where there's so much pressure that's put on them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems that a lot of people have is they go on a first date and they make it like a real date. Like they go,
Flowers,
yeah,
dinner,
they end up putting in a couple of hours of time.
and money. And
Well,
remember
and
what
money.
Charles says about your vaginas, ladies.
Oh my God, are you really going to bring up last week's stuff again?
I am. I'm not over it.
Check out the archive. You can see that show at a different time.
Just saying.
But there's all this pressure, and men certainly feel it. They got to bring their
Okay.
A game.
So tell me what the pressure is for men. Let's talk about that first.
Well, men have an exorbitant amount of pressure.
Okay.
They want to put their best foot forward.
Okay.
They want to set the bar high, but they get nervous about setting the bar too high because then you
All
have
future
to
dates.
all future
Yeah.
dates have to be this way.
Yeah.
And I'm for that. Actually, I don't understand what the issue is with that.
You're for high bar, setting the bar high.
Setting the bar high for
Nice.
sure. What's
Okay.
wrong with that?
Okay.
Like, I mean, if you're interested in someone, then and you want the relationship to flourish and grow and be good, then why not?
I like that. I like that. So I'm a big believer in ladies, be yourself, be your most fabulous self, but don't pretend to be somebody you're not.
But what do they wear? Right? I mean, that's one of the most
Nothing
common
too
questions
slutty.
I get. Right?
Let's just say nothing too slutty.
So no slut slippers, no.
No slut slippers. Like, save those for the third date. Just saying.
That's a third date thing.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about for slut slippers. I'm talking about I actually changed my shoes right before my first date with the Hubs. I did. And the third date, too.
And what did you change them to? From what?
Something less slutty. No, because I didn't want to give the wrong impression.
Where did you go on your first date?
Oh, we had a great first date. The Hubs took me out for Thai food, and then I took him to my favorite bar, and we had a cocktail and listened to live music. It was
Right.
actually a really nice date.
See, and it's a combination, right? So the reason I asked is a lot of people, like, they go to the movies, but there's no way to interact, right?
Game over.
I mean, there's no way to interact that way. You ended up with this really cool mix of, let me get to know you a little bit,
Yeah.
and by the way, we're going to go, like, not talk the whole time. We're going to listen to music.
Well, and that was actually an afterthought. We were just going to go have dinner, but we were having such a good time, I suggested that we continue the date. And he said yes, and I really liked that.
Very nice.
I know, it was
Very
really
nice.
fun. And I treated drinks, he treated dinner, so it was very much like, I've talked about on the show before, I just have issues with women expecting that men always pay. I think it really is, and you and I disagree on this, I think we need to show chivalry too. I think it's just as important to show that we appreciate the other person.
I would agree with that, though.
Oh, cool.
I think I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se, but men who expect to go Dutch are doing the wrong thing.
Yes, I agree with that. And he didn't expect it at all. He appreciated it. So that was what was nice about it.
Now, there's a lot of people who face first dates transitioning from an online environment for the first time to a real-world environment.
Now, are you saying a first date is beyond the coffee date?
Well, so that's an interesting thing. So talk to me about the coffee date.
Well, the coffee date is really the perfect first date because, you got coffee and you can take it to go if it doesn't work out. Or you can stay and sip slowly if you decide that the person doesn't look like a troll and is totally different from what they presented themselves to be online. Who's been there, ladies?
No trolls.
Who's been there? And dudes, I know you've been there too. And so, big rule of thumb, and this is a totally separate show, make sure your internet dating profile features photos of you in the last 6 months to a year.
Oh, that is a different show.
Not 10 years ago. Come on.
And it includes a face shot and a 3/4 shot so they can see who you are. We'll do a separate show.
So many thoughts going through my head right now. Okay, so meeting for coffee is perfect because it can be as short as 10 minutes, long as 2 or 3 hours, depending on how well it's going. And really, when you meet online, you don't know anything about the other person other than the laundry list they've presented. So a first date in that scenario shouldn't be longer than an hour or two because you don't know what you're getting, quite frankly.
Sure. Well, and you never really do. You know why?
Why?
Because you never really know. Oh. So the issue though is that I know you were but no, to your point, like the coffee date is a perfect date.
Yeah.
Because
perfect first date.
Because it can be as short as 15 minutes or half an hour.
Yeah.
Or it can be extended out into whatever, and you can get something from the bar as well. So from the croissant bar.
The croissant bar. Let's talk about what to wear.
Right. Well, you touched on that with women.
Yes. Well, event venue appropriate.
Right. And season appropriate.
Season appropriate. So some people like to do like an activity like bowling on a first date, which I actually think is really fun because then you really get to know somebody and see their personality. And
you can see how competitive they are. You can see how nice they are. Sure.
Right. So definitely venue and event specific clothing is important.
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Nothing too revealing, especially if you're doing something active, because ladies, they'll see us eventually. You just don't want to show off all the goods right away.
Well, and on the guy's side, come correct, I mean, if you don't have a shine on your shoes, then you appropriate.
Game over.
Yeah, and should your belt match it? Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to know more tips on that?
All those things that we ladies just...
Yeah. Amazing. Women notice every single thing, right?
Very true.
So where does this go at the end of the date? Does it end up at a...
Ooh. At what? What are we talking about, Charles?
Every guy wants to know, when is the right time for a first kiss?
Yes, so,
Is it on a first date?
I wouldn't say the tongue on a first date. I just wouldn't.
Right. Well, some men expect that they don't necessarily want a first date kiss. They want a first date blowjob.
Game over.
Yeah.
Game over. Well, unless that's what you're up for, unless you're really just looking for a hookup, and then game on, go for it, as long as you both are up for that same scenario. I knew on our first date that the hubs wanted to kiss me, and he held back, which I thought was really cute. A couple times he kept looking at me. I'm like, oh, he's thinking about it.
Did he ask?
He did not, but this is what was so great, because I was so nervous, because I liked him, and I was like, I don't want to go through another date and have to wait for a kiss because I'm really stressed out. So at the very end of our date, he walked me to my front door, and I grabbed him, and I gave him a peck, and he almost fell down the stairs.
Oh, my God.
And he was like, I'm definitely calling you again. Because he was so surprised by it. But it's like that jitter thing. So first kisses are really nice, but first kisses with way too much tongue too soon, not so nice.
Not so nice. Well, see, and I had an opposite kind of thing. I didn't know how I was going to do this with Tina, right? I had no clue. And our first date was kind of not a date. It was like this group hangout.
Ooh, so, I actually think that's a nice first date.
It is a very nice first date, and it was cool. But I was wondering how I was going to put this together because she was giving off the right signals, but we were in this group, right?
What were the signals, Charles?
We're not going to get into that here. Really, Lisa?
Did she do a little lean in?
You know what? I'm not going to talk about that.
Oh, now you're emotionally chaste.
No, that's a separate show.
I'm the emotionally slutty one on the program, okay? I just reveal everything. And not slowly over time.
Right. Well, no, I ended up walking up to her, and I was in the midst of chewing gum, right? And I walked up, right, well, and then I, swallowed my gum. So stupid. And I looked at her and she goes, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I swallowed my gum." And she had gum in her mouth. So.
Did she lean in and give you her gum?
She donated gum.
Did it still have flavor?
It did.
Okay, good. Good call, Tina. Good
so
call.
my clumsy, nonsensical bullshit seems to have worked. So
that was so calculated. It actually wasn't, and that's what I like about it, because you seem like a calculating kind of guy.
I'm taking the fifth.
But I actually really like that.
I'm taking the fifth.
I'm going to try.
And you should too. And speaking of taking the fifth, I'm moving us to our awesome...
Yay! I know, I much prefer this side.
Awesome sponsor. Your Tango.
Your Tango, we love you. Woo woo!
Yay! Head over to yourtango.com. Great advice, great articles, great experts, including the two of us. So...
Way to toot our own horns. Toot,
right?
toot.
Well,
Love it.
I mean, it was a long weekend. Somebody has to toot somebody's horn.
Oh, I got something.
All right.
So I'm really good.
At the back half of the show, we always address your advice,
He just totally ignored the fact that I talked about getting lucky this weekend.
Well, are we going to get into your sex life?
No, we're going to dish out your street smart love advice right now.
If you need advice, head over to my fan page, and that's at facebook.com/theproblem-is-men.
Yep.
Click on the little message button, and we will address your issues live on the show, keeping you anonymous.
And not just your issues, sometimes you just got a question. Doesn't have to be an issue.
Right.
So we're happy to answer that as well. So the first piece of advice goes out to A, who is a male, and that's important to know in this scenario.
And I do get a lot of men who write in, and we do address your
men.
questions. Well, yeah, this is not an anti-man show. This is an anti-douchebag show on
an
men
anti-bitch show,
or
too.
women, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
All right, so A asks, what am I meant to believe when my ex says she loves me, but then she changes her mind again? Hot and cold all the time. Ooh, hot and cold, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
She's never stable and has gone on for over a year now. There's a 6-month-old daughter in the middle. Ooh.
Right.
Oh, and the big question A's asking is, why do women lie and mess with emotions if they say they know what they want?
But her actions are speaking much louder. So he's saying some key things. A year of this type of behavior?
And I really appreciate your point of view, A, because so often women think that only men do this.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you're sharing that you're experiencing this with your partner or ex-partner who is a woman tells us that this goes both ways. And I'm really sorry, number one, that you're in this situation, and also that there's a child in the middle.
No doubt. Well, and we've said this a couple times, many times on the show, that kids are not a reason to stay together, right?
And they're not the person to be put in the middle either.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But my advice, and maybe you see this differently, my advice for someone who runs hot and cold, if you're with somebody who runs hot and cold, is to get away from them. Like, there's nothing...
Turn the faucet off.
Yeah,
Game over.
There's nothing you can do about that. They have issues on their side that they're trying to solve. And it doesn't matter what you either do or don't do about it. It's still their stuff to solve.
Well, hot and cold is non-committal. And that's exhausting. And it sounds like you're in a place where you're really looking for a commitment, so you deserve that from the other person rather than waiting around for her to get her SHAT together.
Right.
So I say game over, and I wish you the best. And please keep us posted. We always like to hear follow-ups from our peeps.
So, for this one from M.
Hi, M.
Hi, M. I have an issue. 21, abused by a family member for 12 years, maybe more, and I seem to pick men who show no respect to me. What I find acceptable in a man is wrong, according to my mother. I find it hard to deal with men being nice to me. Ooh. Is this because of my past?
Yes.
I feel like I'm not worthy of a nice man. Is this all in my head?
No.
No. So, I've talked to a number of women who run into this issue, and a lot of it stems from family of origin issues, early abuse.
Early abuse especially.
Yeah. Well, I read a statistic a while back that 3 in 5 women have experienced some form of sexual abuse at some point in their life. 3 in 5.
Oh my God.
That's not my data. That's something that I had read a few months ago. And that includes everything from early childhood molestation all the way out to date rape or worse, right?
Okay.
That they've experienced something. And so, but that affects your self-esteem, and it ties into what you think you're worth, no?
It does. It absolutely does. And, we all have issues, right? Like, just in terms of relationships, we show up with our shit. And so when you had that early trauma or that early abuse, that shows up every day of your life in every relationship, but especially your intimate relationships. So if you're walking around believing that you can't accept a good guy, or it bothers you when a guy's nice to you, that's something that you got to deal with yourself, because otherwise you're going to keep attracting guys who treat you like crap, and you deserve way better than that, contrary to what your past has dictated. Just because you accepted that in the past, and just because those things happened to you, does not mean that's what your future's all about.
And I would be recommending you talk to a professional. I mean, you know, if you experience something at 12 years, for 12 years, you've got a bunch of stuff that hasn't even been worked through. Yeah. So no matter what relationship you try to get into today, most likely you're going to end up in the same bag of finding somebody who treated you this way.
And it resonates with her. It sounds like that's what she's really comfortable with, whereas she's not comfortable dealing with someone who's nice to you. So I highly recommend seeking professional help for that. That's going to help you get out of your own way. And good luck with that. Please let us know how that goes.
Send us an update, please.
So this is kind of a common theme today, because F is writing, hi F.
Hi, F.
And saying, I've experienced such a bad relationship where I was mistreated and disrespected. It's been over 6 months since I broke up with my ex. Yay! Congrats for breaking up.
This is where you can really act.
I know, right? So, but it's hard for me to get over him and move on. F, you're in the right place. I'm here to remind you, and Charles is too, that this is a breakup, not a breakdown. Mm-hmm. I think one of the challenges you're probably having, and I talk to so many people about this when they're going through a breakup, is they are really focused on what's next for the ex rather than what's next for them.
Right.
They're also focused on what's missing rather than what they're free to experience and welcome into their life. And so a lot of times it's important to ask yourself, what are you waking up thinking about? What are you walking through your day thinking about? And what are you going to bed thinking about? Because as soon as you can change what your focus is, you can change how quickly you're able to get over the other person.
No doubt, no doubt. And when it comes to exes, too many people stay connected way too long.
Exercise.
So, yeah, you gotta get rid of all that stuff. And one of the challenges is that when you break up with a long-term relationship, it's very much like a death. You know, it's a relationship that died.
Of grieving.
So you are in grieving, right? And sometimes you're thinking of things that are so positive. And other times you're thinking of, why the hell was I there in the first place?
Yeah, and just because you're grieving doesn't mean it's a sign you're supposed to go back. So stay, like it's X for a reason, like exercise, extricate, all those X words. Please follow that advice and stay firmly focused on your fabulous future. And say game over every time you think about reconnecting or thinking about what's next for him. It's about what's next for you.
What is next for you? Yeah. Absolutely. All right.
This one is good.
So this one...
I mean, intense, juicy good.
Yeah, this is from H. H, hi. Very nice for you to write in.
Yeah, thank you.
H is 26. Her partner is 41. They've been together on and off for the last 2 years or so. But lately, things have been very difficult. So prior to their relationship, H was a call girl.
Okay.
Where it's legal, she works at a real brothel. It's legalized prostitution. And she was taking breaks for certain periods of time, and that's when they were on.
Okay.
And then she'd go back to work, and that's when they were off.
Okay.
But they have an issue. She had to go back to work. The economy's hit them, and now they have to go back to work. She has to go back to work.
She has to go back to work.
He's working as well. He's not sitting on his ass, right?
But does she have to go back to that profession?
Well, that was my question, but that's the profession she's gone back to.
Okay.
So
is it causing relationship issues?
It's really destroying their relationship.
I can imagine.
He goes back and forth between being okay with things and not being okay with things.
Who wouldn't, people?
Well,
I mean, this is an intense situation.
See, but the issue is that she's trying to explain to him that it's just work, according to her. And a lot of foreign workers say this, right? Yeah. They have this very clear separation between emotional and physical sex. All right?
Right.
I could never deal with this, just to get this out there.
Yeah, me neither.
But I get where you're coming from. And for people that can adjust to it, it really works.
But it sounds like her partner might not be able to adjust to it.
Well, now he's like taking a lot of different measures, right? Now he's not engaging in any foreplay. And
he wants to just get to sex?
Just get to sex, and she's got a pretty crass description of what constitutes lubrication and just getting it up, getting it in, getting it off, and getting it out.
Got it. So he's basically...
He's shutting down emotionally, and he's acting out on it physically. Right.
Game over.
So, well, yeah, I mean...
Game over.
You guys are being faced with all these emotional and monetary issues, but what you're doing for a living, he clearly isn't prepared for. I mean...
Yeah, so if you know, it's
kind of like a swinger lifestyle where one person wants to be a swinger, or
only
one
works
person.
if you both want to.
Well, right. So if he's not okay with this, your relationship's not going to make it. And that's my prediction. It's not a statement of fact, but that's what I'm reading in here. This is a guy who's not okay with what you're doing for a living. So
you have a choice. You either continue doing what you're doing for a living and break off the relationship, or you break off the work and you continue the relationship. But can you continue the relationship after the current way he's been treating you?
Right.
Because that would be a game over for me.
But he also feels that way. He feels treated that way as well.
And I get that.
So, and that's where the two of you really need a meeting of the minds, right? You need to sit down.
Talk about this.
And you got to get, like, his ego's been hit, definitely. Everything's been damaged.
Yeah.
You guys have to sit down and not have any elephants in the room. Just call it.
Call all the elephants in the room.
And
all
just
of them.
talk
all
it
of them.
through.
Even the most difficult ones to talk about.
And what's the worst that can happen? The relationship's not going to make it. Like, you're on that road now.
Yeah.
Okay?
So the truth is, this is already headed for a game over. So it's about how you deal with it and handle it and address it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And consider a different line of work if he's not okay with it, or if you enjoy what you're doing, like he's not the right match.
Boyfriend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and good luck with that. And please keep us posted. This sounds like a really tricky situation, and we want to know how you're doing.
If you have a question, please write into us. Head over to facebook.com/theproblemismen. Click on the message button, and we'll get it live here, and we'll keep it completely anonymous.
We will.
So
we promise.
And that's our show. This has been Game Over. I'm Charles J. Orlando.
You're Charles J. Orlando. That must mean I'm Lisa Stedman.
Always. And until tomorrow.
Yeah, come back tomorrow.
We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.